The year 1959. Volvo engineer Niels Bolin invents the three-point seatbelt. His colleagues laughed. Who needs the strap? Today it saves millions of lives. But what if I tell you that even now, in 2025, the cars we rely on could betray us in a second? Hello, friends. Today we will debunk the myths about car safety. You'll learn how your family fortress on wheels can become a trap, and why a hatchback is like Russian roulette. And SUVs. Oh, their secrets will shock you. Let's go. Minivans. These homes on wheels should be as reliable as Swiss watches. Behind their smiling advertisements lie dramas that turn lives upside down. Let's start with the 2023 Toyota Sienna. Its story began in 1997 when Toyota decided to conquer America by creating the first minivan with sliding doors. Back then, no one thought that 26 years later this car would receive 5 stars. However, it will fail in the IHS tests, where an unsecured dummy flew out the window. Why did this happen? The fact is 75% of parents incorrectly install child seats. NHTSA 2023. This is not just statistics. This is a problem that costs lives. For example, in 2022, the Rodriguez family from Florida faced this reality. Their Sienna overturned at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour, and 2-year-old Sophia fell out through the window. The reason? The seat was secured with plastic clips instead of certified straps. As a result, the girls sustained serious head injuries. Toyota still writes in the manual that seats should only be secured with certified straps. But who reads the instructions? And now let's take a look at the Chrysler Dacia, the first hybrid minivan, which debuted in 2017. It was praised for its eco-friendliness, but in 2022, the IHS found that the side doors open upon impact at 50 kilometers per hour. The reason? Locks, made of thin steel, which Chrysler skimped on in the base versions. In 2021, in Detroit, a Pacifica collided with a truck. The door swung open, and 7-year-old Ethan fell onto the asphalt. His mother Linda screamed, "I thought this was a safe car." Chrysler recalled 12,000 cars due to this defect. But compensation was offered to the family only after a lawsuit. Let's move on to the Kia Carnival, a minivan with a digital key for smartphones. In 2021, Kia invested $300 million in technology but forgot about the reinforcement ribs. During a rollover, the roof caved in by 10 centimeters. For comparison, the Honda Odyssey deforms by only 5 centimeters, according to NCAP. The Carnival received only 2 out of 5 stars for rollover protection. In 2023, a Carnival rolled over 3 times in Texas. The head of the family, Masca, survived, but his head hit the ceiling. Doctors diagnosed a 3rd-degree concussion. We bought the Carnival because of the cameras and sensors. No one warned us that the roof is like foil, he says. And finally, the 2020 Dodge Grand Carnival. The last representative of an era that began in 1984. Its platform hasn't changed since 2008, and the airbags deployed seconds slower than those in the Honda Odyssey. In 2021, in Canada, the Grand Carnival collided with an SUV at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. The airbags deployed too late. 34-year-old Sarah Lawrence died from a head injury against the steering wheel. Her husband filed a lawsuit, but the daughter cited the age of the design. Minivans are a compromise, says Lars Johansson, a former Volvo engineer. Manufacturers add screens, sunroofs, but skimp on steel, and when trouble happens, they blame the drivers. 75% of parents install child seats incorrectly. NHTSA 2023. According to IHS, 2,300 children die annually due to minivan defects. Minivans promise to be a home on wheels, but too often become myths on wheels. Remember, Euro and K stars. This is not a guarantee. Check every latch, read the instructions, and make sure your children are buckled up as securely as your love for them. Let's talk about hatchbacks. These small, nimble cars that we see at every turn in the city. They seem perfect, compact, maneuverable, economical. But you know what? Sometimes behind this practicality lies a real trap. And now I'll tell you why. Let's start with the Volkswagen Golf. Yes, the very Golf that is considered the benchmark of German quality. 8 generations, millions of units sold, and all this time one problem remains unsolved. In a head-on collision, the engine shifts towards the driver. Imagine, you're going about your business and suddenly, an accident. Your leg gets trapped between the pedals and the deformed floor. It's not just painful, it can end in amputation. In 2022, Lucas Schmick from Berlin lost both legs. Exactly. Volkswagen paid his family 2 million euros, but did not change the design. What? Because it's difficult. Difficult to save someone's life. Seriously. Now let's move to India, where the Hyundai i20 is marketed as a car for the masses. It seems like it's made for city roads, but its thin doors are made of steel only a millimeter thick, turn into a fatal flaw in a side impact. In Delhi, 2023, a taxi driver in an i20 crashed into a rickshaw. A 17-year-old girl was trapped inside the car. Her body was found in a half-bent position. The door was dented by 30 centimeters. Imagine buying a car that is supposed to be safe, only to find out that its design fails at the most critical moment. But not everything is so bleak. There are stories that inspire hope. For example, the 2023 Ford Focus. This car saved John Carter's life in California. Its emergency braking system activated at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour, reducing it to 45 kilometers per hour. John got away with a broken collarbone. He told us, "I thought I was going to die. It's a miracle." And you know what? It's not a miracle. It's technology that works. Ford has been investing in safety for over 2 decades. And the Focus is a prime example of how innovation can save lives. And then there's the Fiat 500, this iconic car, which debuted in 1957. 1957 remains a symbol of retro design. But its short hood is not just a nod to fashion, it's also a threat. In 2021 in Rome, 24-year-old Maria Ricci crashed into a pole at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. The hood did not absorb the impact, and the coroner wrote, "Death was instantaneous." Fiat still calls the designs a cultural heritage, but many experts believe it's just a marketing ploy. You know what's the scariest part? We trust these cars with our lives. We get behind the wheel, buckle up, thinking everything will be fine. But sometimes manufacturers sacrifice safety for the sake of cost savings or style. And these aren't just numbers and reports. These are real people, real families, real tragedies. 60% of urban accidents involve hatchbacks. According to the IHS, 3,000 people die annually due to design flaws in compact cars. Hatchbacks are like people. Appearances can be deceiving. Some hide death under retro designs, others save lives with technology. Choose with your head, not your heart, because in the city, your car should be durable, not just stylish. SUVs. These road monsters that we see everywhere seem invincible, tall, massive, with powerful engines. But you know what? Sometimes, their price and status are just a facade, behind which fatal compromises are hidden. And now I will show how luxury brands like Range Rover have turned from safety benchmarks into walking risks. Let's start with the 2023 Range Rover Sport, a symbol of British automotive industry. After Land Rover was sold to India's Tata in 2008, the cars lost their frame construction. The body is now entirely aluminum, and the panoramic roof lacks steel crossbars. The result? In the Euro NCAP test, during a side impact, the pillars deformed 40% more than those of the Mercedes G-Class. And in the rollover test, the roof bent by 15 centimeters. That's enough to crush the passengers. As an expert from Touch'em Research said, Range Rover sacrifices strength for design and weight. But the most shocking is the frontal impact with 25% overlap. In 2022, Auto Review conducted such a test for the Range Rover. The impact at a speed of 64 kilometers per hour hit the left front part. The result? The engine shifted into the cabin, and the deformation reached the rear doors. If the driver were taller than 180 centimeters, their legs would have been crushed. Commented the engineer from AICP. And now remember the 1995 Range Rover Classic, a legend with a steel frame 2.5 millimeters thick. In a similar test, its frame held up, and the deformation was limited to the hood. But today, in the pursuit of cost savings, Even premium brands forget the main thing: safety. It starts with the metal, they with panoramic windows. And this is not the only example. Elon Musk's Tesla's Cybertruck crumbled like a house of cards in a 50 km/h crash. Its aluminum armor cracked, and the glass shattered into the face of the test driver, to the test pilot. And a 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe with an aluminum roof failed a rollover test. Deformation of 10 centimeters compared to 5 centimeters for the Toyota Land Cruiser. Do you know what unites these cars? The illusion of reliability. We pay tens of thousands of dollars for status, but we get aluminum coffins. The height of SUV hoods kills pedestrians, and the flimsy bodies kill their owners. Want real protection? Look not at the logo, but at the thickness of the steel. Because even luxury cannot replace common sense. Let's talk about cars that don't appear in glossy magazines and don't show up in Hollywood blockbusters. Economy class cars. They don't claim to be luxurious or high-tech. But you know what? Sometimes they turn out to be real heroes where premium models fail. And now I'll tell you why these modest cars deserve your attention. Opening this category is the Dacia Sandero. This is a car bought by those who don't have extra money. It seems like just a budget model, but its high-limit elastic steel frame can withstand what many premium cars cannot. In 2023, in Romania, a Sandero had a head-on collision with the Mercedes GLE. Both drivers survived. Yes, you heard that right, a little Sandero against a huge Mercedes. Expert Yura in Cap commented on it like this: Dacia is a dark horse. And he's right. Because sometimes simplicity and reliability turn out to be more important than fancy systems and expensive materials. And now let's move to Russia, where the Lada Vesta has been causing debates for many years. It's criticized for its design, for its build quality, for everything you can think of. But you know what? In 2021, farmer Pyotr Ivanov got into an accident in his Vesta. His car went off the road and rolled over 3 times. The roof didn't collapse, the door didn't open, but Pyotr was able to get out through the window. He told us, "I thought I was going to die." Thankful that the roof didn't collapse. These aren't just words. It's a real story that shows you can find reliability even in the simplest cars. The Urban Ninja, Suzuki Swift, a small and nimble car that seems like a toy. But its hard-act frame is a true masterpiece of engineering. In 2020 in Tokyo, 7-year-old Yuki survived after her Swift crashed into a concrete wall. Her mother told us. Doctors couldn't believe she didn't have any fractures. And you know what, said a Suzuki engineer. We designed the Swift with our own children in mind. That's genuine care. Not marketing, not advertising, but care for people. You know what's most interesting? These cars don't advertise their achievements. They don't shout about how safe or reliable they are. They just do their job. They protect us when we least expect it. And it's not just numbers and tests, or pretty pictures and brochures. These are real stories, real people, real lives. Economy class. It's not about cheap plastic. It's about steel horses that save lives while premium cars boast with stickers. Sometimes heroes wear not capes, but modest price tags. Don't judge a car by its cover. Buses and K-cars. These giants of the road transport millions of people every day. They seem as impregnable as fortresses. But you know what? Sometimes their size and mass become not a protection, but a threat. And now I'll tell you why these vehicles can be both heroes and villains. And first up, we have the Blue Bird, a school bus that carries our most precious cargo, our children. Its high back seats and 3-point seat belts didn't appear by accident. In 1938, a tragedy occurred. An overturned bus killed 12 schoolchildren. After that, safety standards were tightened. But here's the paradox. In 70% of the countries in the world, children still travel without seat belts. Imagine your child sitting in a bus that crashes into a pole or overturns without seat belts. They become helpless against the physics of the impact. This is not just statistics. These are someone's children, someone's families, someone's losses. And now let's take a look at the smart Ford Veal, the mystery car. Tiny and nimble, it seems like a toy among cars. But in 2023 in Munich, this little one collided with a bus. Only the cabin was left of the car. 22-year-old Anna survived. She told us, "I hate the smart, but it saved my life." Yes, its size could have been a death sentence, but its construction turned out to be sturdy enough to protect the driver. It's a reminder that even the smallest cars can be heroes at the right moment. And here it is, the legend. The 1995 Volvo 940. This car became a legend even before it was crashed in tests in 2023. At a speed of 64 kilometers per hour, it held its ground. Volvo engineer Lars Johansson told us, "We cried watching the test. Modern cars are lighter and smarter, but old Volvos are tanks." It's a shame they don't build them like that today. And you know what? He's right. Because sometimes progress is not just about new technologies, but also time-tested solutions. Buses and microcars are extremes. Some kill children out of greed, others save them against all logic. If your child goes to school without a seatbelt, it's not transportation, it's a lottery. And in a lottery, there are always losers. Safety is not about airbags, it's about steel that won't bend. It's a parent who checks the car seat for the 10th time. It's not a choice between brand and price, but between life and statistics. Brands, cars don't become safe on their own. People make them that way. Be those people. Check, read, demand. And yes, Volvo is still unmatched. And you, whose side are you on? Subscribe, hit the bell. Until next time, where we will continue to debunk myths together.